Okay, so let's do a quick review. I know this week we saw multiples, right? The least common multiple. Last week we saw factors. We're looking at the greatest common factored. Now, quick review, 35 through 42. I don't want us to forget about factors. I know it's what we saw last week, but let's not forget about it. So it comes back in our homework. Keep in mind, look, read the instructions. It says list all the common factors from smallest to large of each. Okay, so let's see. My numbers here are 18. So I'm going to think factors. Which numbers multiplied? So I'm thinking all the possible multiplications that are equal to 18. And I'm going to start 1 times 18. 2 times 9. 3 times 6. Notice how my list on the left, it keeps on increasing. 1, 2, 3. The next number will be 4. 4 is not a factor of 18. Because then I cannot think of 4 times a numbered, a whole number that is equal to 18, right? 5 is not a factor either. 6 is, but 6 is already on my list. You guys see the factors of 18 are 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, 18. Remember, factors are numbers that multiplied give me a product. Product is the result of a multiplication. So factors are the numbers that I multiply. Product is the result. Okay, now let's take a look at what are the factors of 36. I'm going to think 1 times 36, 2 times 18, 3 times 12, 4 times 9, 5 is not a factor, and then 6 times 6. There's a repetition of numbers, so I stop. My factors of 45 are going to be 1 times 45. 2 is not a factor, but I can do 3 times 15. 4 is not a factor of 45. Now 5 times 9. 6, 7, and 8 are not factors of 45. Okay, so now the instructions here is all the common factors from smallest to large. All right, so I'm looking for the numbers that are in all of the three, okay? So 1 is a factor of 18, 36, and 45. 2 is not a common factor because it's not a factor of 45. But then I have 3. 6 is not a common factor. But then I have 9, and that's it. My common factors are 1, 3, and 9. I went from small to large. Don't forget the comma in between parentheses. Don't forget a space after each comma. Okay, let's take a look at number 36. First, let me find the factors of 48. So 1 times 48, 2 times 24, 3 times 16, 4 times 12. 5 is not a factor of 48, but then I have 6 times 8. 7 is not a factor, and then 8 is already on my list. The factors of 36 are 1 times 36, 2 times 18, 3 times 12, 4 times 9, and then 6 times 6. The factors of 24 are 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, and then 4 times 6. Right, factors again are multiplications. Right, the numbers that multiply will give me a product. Product is the result of multiplication. I wanted all the multiplications that are equal to 48, all the multiplications that are equal to 36, and all the multiplications that are equal to 24. Now, common factors, it has to be in all of them. Okay, so 1 is the smallest that I see. 2 is also a common factor, right? It's in all of them. Then I see 3. I see 4. 6 is also a common factor. 12. And That's it. I don't see another common factor. Don't forget on your list, there's a comma in between numbers. Don't forget a space after each comma. I know we saw factors last week, but don't want you to forget them, so we're going to do them still. Now, let's take a look at number 37. Find the greatest common factor of each. Okay. So let me find all the factors of 30. 1 times 30. 2 times 15. 3 times 10. And then 5 times 6. Let me find all my factors of 25. 1 times 25, and then 5 times 5. Let me find my factors of 35. See, 1 times 35. 2, 3, 4 are not factors of 35, but then we have 5 times 7. Now here, I'm just going to ask for one number, greatest common factor. So it has to be a factor of on all of them. I'm just looking for the biggest. So I see 5 as a common factor. Do we see anything bigger than 5? Nope, no, we don't. So 5. When it comes to letters, because sometimes we might have letters in there. When it comes to letters, for factored, all of them have to have a letter. So for example, I had a 30x, 25x, and then 35. Number-wise, we know we just did a number 37. We know that the greatest common factor will be 5. When it comes to letters, my answer will not have an x. In order for greatest common factor to include a letter, all of them need to have it. I know we talk about least common multiple, only one of them needed to have it, but for factored, all of them need to have it. Okay. Okay, so that's it. So let's take a look at number 38. Let me look at my factors of 20. We're going to do 1 times 20, 2 times 10. 3 is not a factor, but then 4 times 5. My factors of 29 are 1 times 29. And that's pretty much it. My factors of 2 are 1 times 2. So I'm looking for the greatest common factor. I see 1 is a factor of all of them. Now, do I see a bigger common factor? No. So my answer is 1. Greatest common factor. So it has to be a common factor. It has to be a factor of all. Greatest, obviously the biggest. All right, let's take a look at number 39 now. So this is a review of what we saw this week. Multiples. List the first 5 multiples of 13. So I'm going to start with 13. I'm going to make a list of 5 numbers. My first number is 13. My second number is 26. My third number is 39. All right, I start with 13, and for each additional number, I add 13 more. So you see, 13 plus 13 gave me 26, plus 13 more gives me 39. So now 39 plus 13 is 52. 52 plus 13 is 65. There's my first 5 numbers on my list. I could go as far as I need to go, but I'm going to stop at 5. Let me take a look at my first 5 multiples of 22. So start at 22, and for each additional number, add 22 more. So I'm going to have 44, 66, 88, and then 110. Now, here, find the least common multiple. There's a list of 3 numbers. All right, let me find my multiples of 18. So I'm going to start with 18. And for each additional number, add 18 more. So I'm going to get, let's see, 18, 36, 54, 72, 90, 108, 126, 144, 162, and let me do 180. Okay, now multiples of 24. Again, I'm going to start at 24, then for each numbered, I'm going to add 24 more. So 24, 48, 72, 96, 120, 144, 168, 192, 216, 240. Now let me find multiples of 30. Are going to be 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180, 210, 240. Okay. Do I find any common multiples? No, I don't. There's no common multiples. Okay, so I need to make one of my list. I have to make them bigger. Let me make my first list, 180, right? We stop at 180. Let me add 18 more. 198, 216, 234, 252, 270. Ooh, let me go 288, 306, 324, 342, and 360. Ooh, okay. My list of 24, so I'm going to start here at 240. So 240 plus 24, it gives me 264. 288, 312, 336, 360. Let me take a look at this last list. I'm going to start 240, and I'm going to add 30 more. So that's 270, 300, 330, and then 360. Okay, let me zoom out a little. Okay, you might have to go with big list. So I see a common multiple. My question here is, do we see a smaller common multiple? No. So 360 will be it. Some of your lists have to be big. Okay. I think we get the idea for number 42. So I'm going to skip 42 right now because 41 took me a long time. Okay. But it has to be a common multiple. I'm looking for the smallest one. So let me just zoom out. That's what we did. On your quiz tomorrow, you will have greatest common factors and you will have least common multiple. One thing on least common multiple, let's say I give you a question, and then the question that I give you is 18xy, 24x to the second, and then 30y to the third. Number wise, 18, 24, and 30, I'm going to say my least common multiple is 360. I want to review letters. What happens when we have letters? So number wise is 360, right? We just did that. Now, letter wise, for the least common multiple, I'm going to have x to the second, y to the third. For least common multiple, the x, they don't all need it. For factors, they do, but for multiples, they don't. I just go with the biggest exponent of x. And then for the y as well, I go with the biggest exponent of y. So my answer would be 360 x squared y to the third. Just quick review on letters. So there you go. You should be okay.